Denver, your water conservation grades are in, and people are flunking badly.
If we don't get our 20%, it really just increases the risk we have for next year.
Aurora police said the shooting by their officer was self-defense. A grand jury says it was murder. Campaign finance attorneys are baffled that Republican gubernatorial candidate Victor Marks says he can bring in unlimited campaign donations. He's doubling down today. Denver has made it difficult to fight parking tickets, even when they're bogus.
I really felt bullied a little bit because it was like me versus City Hall.
Steve on Your Side is all over their backside tonight on Next. Denver begged people to cut water usage by 20% this summer. Residents' response has been a sprinkler head rising up in what looks an awful lot like a big middle finger. Our Mark Salinger got the hard number showing Denver is missing its water conservation goals, despite a bunch of neighbors telling on people with lush lawns.
The grass around Denver is a patchwork of crispy yellow and lush green. At the beginning of the summer, the city wanted to cut water by 20%. So far, we're down 5%.
We expect everybody, no matter who you are, to reduce 20%.
Greg Fisher with Denver Water knew it would take some time for people to switch their water habits. But more needs to change.
Our customers are doing a great job. I think the unfortunate part of this is that we just all have to do more because of what's being thrown at us. Just one of the most challenging years I've ever seen.
Reservoirs like Antero and Park County are now completely empty as the implications of a dry winter and hot summer become reality.
Those reservoirs are going to get drawn down even quicker because we don't have any inflow or very little inflow.
It's pretty easy to tell these days who's watering their lawns around Denver and who isn't. So far, people have filed more than 4,700 complaints against their neighbors for using too much water outside.
We're going to hold accountable the people that choose not to follow our rules.
Denver Water has sent out 3,800 warnings to people. 4 have gotten fined. As the drought continues, the city needs to cut more water.
If we don't get our 20%, it really just increases the risk we have for next year.
I asked Denver Water, who are the 4 people who were fined? They aren't allowed to release identifying information on that, but I'm told that there are 2 single-family homes, 1 commercial customer, and 1 multi-family property. The fines start at $250 and go up to $1,000. Those 2 single-family homes, Kyle. Lucky you, I guess.
I mean, what do you have to do in order to be a single-family home that gets fined for what? You got to be running a rice paddy, right?
Well, you hear from those people that are like, oh, I'm adhering to those 2-day-a-week watering restrictions, but I'm watering twice a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening on those Tuesdays and Thursdays or whatever it might be. That's what you're not supposed to do. We have to conserve water, everyone.
But people are cutting down on outdoor use, but somehow I guess everybody's just taking long hot showers?
I'm told that 15% has been the cut to outdoor water use, but again, overall water use has only gone down 5%, so the numbers there somehow add up.
Mark Salinger, thank you. The Aurora police officer who shot and killed a man during a traffic stop in 2025 has been indicted on second-degree murder and manslaughter charges. Last August, Officer Matthew Neely tried to pull over Rehan Belt Stubblefield for speeding and a suspected DUI. He did not pull over and he hit 2 cars before crashing. Body camera video shows Officer Neely pull up to the crash and point a gun at Belt Stubblefield. Belt Stubblefield got out of the car, threw a gun on the ground as the officer pushed him to the ground. After Belt Stubblefield began to approach the officer, fists raised, Officer Neely fired 3 shots, killing him. Aurora Police Chief Todd Chamberlain defended the officer after the shooting and placed the blame on Belt Stubblefield. After a months-long investigation by the Critical Incident Response Team, Arapahoe County's Democratic District Attorney Amy Padden took the case to a grand jury. Grand jury decided to bring the charges. Belt Stubblefield's family said they felt hope when they heard about the indictment.
I think I've been in a little bit of a fog and I feel like it's lifting off of me now. It's really sad that like any amount of accountability, any teeny tiny bit that we can get, it's just like, hallelujah, because it could be, oh well. And it's been, oh well, a lot of times.
Neely's out on bond and on unpaid administrative leave. He's due back in court in a couple of weeks. Victor Marks, the Republican nominee for governor, is doubling down on the idea of his supporters funneling unlimited funds to him through an online merchandise store, despite campaign finance attorneys calling it unprecedented and patently illegal. Last week, we told you how Marks, after getting in trouble for breaking Colorado campaign finance law by accepting donations over the legal limit, was now telling supporters that they could make unlimited purchases on his new campaign store. There, people can buy merch packages for as much as $1,300. That one includes a meeting with Victor Marks. 3 campaign finance attorneys from the political left to the political right told us this setup raises very obvious questions. The Marks campaign will not say where the money is going, but after our report first aired, they announced that they would extend a 20% off sale on the site through Tuesday and promoted it with paid social media posts.
Certainly weird. It's unusual. I don't think we've seen anything like this, at least in Colorado.
Liability goes both ways in Colorado for the individual donor and the campaign, as well as the individuals that are in leadership positions in the campaign. It does raise some red flags to me, and it requires some kind of explanation, I think. I hope they got an opinion of counsel from a campaign finance attorney.
I don't think there's any benign explanation. I think that Victor Marks has been called the con man before, and this is just one more con that he's playing on people. Only I think that the problem is he's going to get caught doing it.
A former state Republican Party official who opposes Victor Marks filed an official campaign finance complaint with the state today. We'll see where the state takes it from here. Marks has long faced criticism from fellow Republicans who have called the ministry leader a con man, a grifter, and a fraud. Denver's parking ticket system is set up to punish drivers. You can't dispute a ticket online anymore, budget cuts. So even if your ticket is bogus, you have to go to court twice. Our Steve Steger, the man they call Steve on your side, has been documenting this for a year, and Steve learned that this is an issue that could have been solved years ago.
Around the middle of October, I received a delinquent pay notice from the city of Denver saying that I didn't pay a parking ticket that I received in the early part of October.
Jay Jansen lives in Parker.
Hate to drive in traffic.
The part of Parker where it takes almost an hour to drive to Denver.
I really felt bullied a little bit because it was like me versus City Hall.
Yet the city says he didn't move his car for street sweeping in the Baker neighborhood.
I'd never been in that place in my life.
When he looked that ticket up, it did have his license plate, but the ticket said it was for a Toyota, which is a problem.
And there it is, J-E-E-P.
It was an obvious mistake on the city's part that Jay assumed could be sorted out over the phone. Jay was wrong.
And they told me I had to come into court.
So Jay drove 50 minutes to Denver and back to file a dispute.
Driving a Jeep downtown is not cheap.
Then he drove to Denver and back to find out the dispute had been denied and to schedule a court date.
You park in a parking spot, one of those all-day spots, $20 each time.
Then he drove to Denver and back again for the court date, where the judge ruled that the ticket should be dismissed.
All in all, this whole thing cost almost $200.
Denver used to have an online dispute portal, but it disappeared last year.
When we were going through budget cuts last year, the county court system decided to cut this service as part of the budget cuts.
But Steve on your side has learned it's not quite as simple as that. In fact, we learned Denver's court has been trying to get this office transferred to the city's transportation department for years because it would be easier for the department that writes the tickets to sort out the disputes. Yet, despite discussing it since February of 2024, nothing happened. In July of that year, emails we obtained show a Dottie staffer told the court, "While I do think that this is the right direction to head, the team is currently overloaded with a number of new initiatives." He recommended trying to transfer the department at the end of 2024. They tried, then pushed it to 2025. In April of 2025, the court wrote a memo detailing what it would take, to which a Dottie staffer replied he was hesitant to commit to a time frame, blaming potential budget challenges. In June, the court told Dottie they were considering their own budget cuts. The parking magistrate is on our list to abolish. The head of the court emailed Dottie again on August 26th. "We will be discontinuing the parking magistrate's positions tomorrow," and asked for a brief meeting to discuss the process for people to fight parking tickets. The response? He had some travel over the holiday and asked to meet in September. By then, the process became the headache for drivers like Jay.
So we're just putting the final touches on this.
Dottie's director says the city is on track to get the online dispute process back in place sometime soon.
What it takes to stand it back up is basically the people. So it's the people who are going to sit and do the review and the administrative review of these citations.
The court cut 5 jobs last year. Now Dottie is hiring for 4.
We will stand back up the website that was already in place and with some minor changes and tweaks to that and basically turn that back on.
Too late for drivers like Jay.
I'm not a fan of bureaucracy in general. I understand sometimes why cuts need to be made. They didn't do enough to see what the consequences of removing this online dispute system was going to be.
Okay, so Dottie wants to use money from the Transportation and Mobility Special Revenue Fund to pay for this. It's a pool of cash from raising the parking meter rates a few years ago. The problem is City Council does not love that, with a few council members arguing that that money is supposed to be reserved for transportation projects. I've reported in the past that Denver expected to see some more money from the parking citations this year. They forecasted an uptick. You'd think that this bass-backwards dispute system, they would see that, but they aren't. The numbers we've seen show that revenue is actually going down year to year since they started dragging everyone to court, Kyle.
Well, yeah, it's because they watch your reports, Steve, and before we park now, we check to make sure that we aren't signing up for a 2-year struggle with the city that costs hundreds of dollars. This is where I get stuck on this, right? This is a revenue-generating program, parking tickets. This is not like free lollipops for kids. How are we going to pay for it? You're bringing in revenue.
You're bringing in money. And like I said, the city thought, I think it was like 2.5%, they thought they would see an increase from this. The problem is now they're required to put all of these right-of-way enforcement officers in court to contest those tickets. The number of court cases have gone up 4,700%. compared to the previous year because so many people are saying, I'm fighting this and I'm going to go all the way to court. Then those right-of-way officers aren't there. The tickets get dismissed. That may be part of the reason why they're not seeing as much revenue from this.
All at a time when the mayor is trying to convince more people to come downtown, and it's one more way the city is screwing people blue. All right, Steve Sager, thank you. Mm-hmm. Hey, Next turns 10 years old this week. You have done a lot of good for Colorado in a variety of ways over that time, perhaps nothing more impactful than your 321 straight weeks of microgiving. Most recently, raising almost $45,000 for the Big Thompson Watershed Coalition. That nonprofit protects Coloradans from floods and fires in the canyon. You have raised more than $19 million for our neighbors since 2020. Keep the ideas coming. To nominate a nonprofit for our weekly microgiving campaigns, just go to wordofthanks.org. Wordofthanks.org. That's where you can see the impact of your 300 plus weeks of giving so far and where you can make a suggestion of where we direct that generosity next. Boyd Lake has a bunch of fish that are going to be deader than a doornail unless wildlife workers can race to save a bunch.
Not too hot in the store and ice cream would begin to melt and we can't have that.
Too hot for ice cream. Oh, come on now, ice cream shop. You had one job, but also a big complication. That's next. There are thousands of dead and dying fish around Boyd Lake State Park because of critically low water. Crews with Colorado Parks and Wildlife spent the day trying to gather up as many of the live fish as they can. CPW says the problem started when the nearby privately owned Horseshoe Lake was drained.
Some of those fish then were swept over to Boyd Lake by that connecting inlet, and either the fish that arrived at Boyd Lake were already dead, or Boyd Lake just does not have enough water to really sustain more fish at this point.
That's sad. You ever smell something right through the TV screen? CPW said they were not in a position to order one of those fish salvage operations when they call in half the state to fish for free because the lake that the fish came from is privately owned. It was up to the owners to make that decision. Meteorologist Chris Bianchi, the sun was orange looking this morning. We don't want that smoke.
No, and things I probably don't want to tell you, but I'm going to have to tell you it's going to get worse tonight and tomorrow morning. And that is thanks to this fire specifically in Utah, the Widemouth 2 fire. This about doubled in size in the last 36 hours. This is the one burning in southwestern Utah. That is what led to that orange sunrise that you saw this morning, Kyle. And that is also going to be kind of doubled down with some smoke coming in from the Pacific Northwest tonight behind our cold front. The results, it's going to be really smoky tomorrow morning and probably all day long tomorrow as well. That lingers through Wednesday morning. It's not until the end of the week that we finally clear out some of that smoke. Other story today, 102. By the way, first time we've had back-to-back days in Denver with 102 or above high temperatures since 2012. So this is pretty exceptional for us to have back-to-back days at 102 degrees like we had yesterday and today here in Denver. Cold front has moved through, though, and we're seeing a few sprinkles and a few rumbles of thunder behind that in that 7-day forecast. Next couple of days, we're going to gradually warm those temperatures by Wednesday. I mean, tomorrow, hey, you know what? Tomorrow's going to be our coolest day in 40 days since June the 25th. Then we get into the mid to upper 80s for Wednesday. Then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, well, back to your regularly scheduled blowtorch.
A federal appeals court has revived a lawsuit by environmental groups against Suncor for that refinery's ongoing gifts to our lungs. The group sued Suncor in 2024, claiming state and federal regulators weren't doing enough to protect the people who live right next to the refinery in Commerce City. A federal district court dismissed the case, agreeing with Suncor that Colorado and the feds have been enforcing pollution laws and citizen groups don't need to be involved. State regulators have fined Suncor millions of dollars for repeated pollution violations. Lawyers for the environmental groups say the fines don't do anything because Suncor just treats the fines as the cost of doing business. Today, the appeals court disagreed with the district court, sent the case back to trial. The environmental groups want the district court to force Suncor to figure out why this refinery keeps violating pollution limits and fix it. You scream, I scream, everyone screamed when the ice cream shop was closed on a 100-degree day. That's next. Too hot for ice cream? No such thing. But apparently it happened over the weekend. Photojournalist Foster Gaines stopped by Bonnie Bray Ice Cream in Denver, the landmark, to hear the story of the day that it was too hot for ice cream.
It has been crazy here. This is like 99 and 100 and 101. I mean, we're not in Arizona. It's not supposed to be like this in Colorado.
Hi guys, welcome in.
I came here to get some ice cream. Feels like it's like a 120 or something, and I don't have air conditioning at my house. So this has been a real treat. This is gonna be a real treat. A cappuccino chip sundae with whipped cream and a cherry, and I'm supposed to be on a diet. So there you go. That's what the heat's done for me.
You know, warm weather obviously increases people coming in. We're at Bonnie Bray Ice Cream. I'm one of the owners. Yesterday was one of those incidents that happens periodically.
Did you know they were closed yesterday?
No, what were they closed for?
We have 2 air conditioners and one of them broke. And it just got too hot in the store and ice cream would begin to melt and we can't have that.
Oh my gosh, I'm lucky that I'm here today. So everybody that was coming yesterday, come today because they're open now.
Good that for you.
Thank you.
People come to your shop to escape the heat.
That's right.
And you guys couldn't even escape the heat.
That's right. It happened. And as I said, it's happened before.
Okay, yeah.
You know, over 40 years, things are gonna, you know, you're gonna run into some bumps in the road. And
Hi, welcome in.
happy to have our customers come back and tell us they want ice cream, and we've got it for them, new flavors, and we're ready to go.
Our photojournalist Foster Gaines got some oatmeal raisin ice cream while he was there. Highly controversial choice. I'm a no on that, and a yes on every other kind of ice cream. Back with your feedback about My Ugly Jacket next. In honor of Neck's 10th anniversary this week, feedback tonight is you dragging me over an ugly jacket. James says, Kyle's jacket and shirt combo is hideous. The colors do not match, nor do the patterns. Kyle, we expect better. Do you though, honestly? Tom via email, hey Kyle, nice jacket. Is that burlap? Tractor Supply have a sale? And Nicholas, Kyle, you have outdone yourself. That is the ugliest jacket you have ever worn.